Should one cruise ship passenger be banned for life after this stunt? And one American passenger was hit with a $225,000 phone bill? Let's talk about it. Hey, what's going on, Adventure Fam? Hope you're doing well. Hope you're being blessed this week. It is hump day. It is Wednesday. Hope you're doing fantastic. Before we jump into the video, I want you to go ahead and become part of our Adventure family. If you have not subscribed yet, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Turn on the notification bell so you know when we post. And drop a like for these videos because we really appreciate it and it helps us out. Now, look, I've got to go for a long run later. I'm in the middle of this Ironman training, so I'm going for a long run later, and then I've got a lifting session this afternoon as well. But first, I want to bring you guys a little tidbit of news, and I've got two quick stories for you, so stay tuned. Don't go anywhere, and I promise you, you'll enjoy it by the end of this. So let's jump into story number one, where a Carnival cruise ship passenger thought she was being slick. Well, when you're posting stuff on TikTok and you're showing the entire universe what you're doing, you're not being slick. So let's talk about the story, and I want to hear your comments down below on whether or not you feel like this person should be banned. So let's jump into story number one, and this is where some Carnival cruise passenger thought she came up with a hack. And look, if you've ever stayed in a hotel, you've been on a cruise, you know that when you go into the room, sometimes there's unopened bottles of water, sometimes there's snacks, there's alcohol, there's things that the cruise line or the hotel will charge you for if you use them, if you consume them, if you eat them, drink them, whatever. In this case, it was a 1.5 liter bottle of Crystal Geyser water in her cruise cabin, and she thought she came up with a hack when she decided that she was going to crack open the bottle. She drank the water, presumably drank the water, and instead of, getting charged for the bottle of water that she drank, like a normal consumer, like a responsible adult, she decided to fill it back up with the sink water. She used super glue around the seal to seal it back up, and she used a fresh cardboard tag from an unopened bottle to put it on the bottle to make it appear as if it was never touched. Now, she put all of this out on social media. She was smiling, giving thumbs up during the video as if she was deceiving people and doing something great, as if she was giving us all a great hack to use, when in reality she was just doing something very unethical that you shouldn't be doing, essentially stealing, all for what? To save $5 on a bottle of water. It's the price you pay when you go on vacation. But yeah, so there are, people that are up in the comments about this, of course, and here's some of the things that people are saying about this. Now, like anything on the internet, there's obviously somebody else filming this as well, and so the comments vary, right? The comments go from "this passenger should be banned for life" to "there's no possible way that this video is real, it's got to be rigged," to some people saying she had to have bought a bottle of water in order to get that fresh cardboard tag in the first place. And so there's varying views all over it. Now, there are some tips on here saying, hey, go get your bottle of water from the bar. It's a lot safer option. But it does raise a point with the safety of bottled water in your room if that were to happen. Let's play devil's advocate here and say this is 100% real. What is the, how is the safety and sanitation of the water she filled it up with? Could she be putting anybody else in danger by drinking maybe what's not to be clean water, kind of a thing? I don't know, but it's, when you're buying a bottle of water, you're expecting to get fresh water. And so I don't know what the answer is to this. I'm not sure exactly kind of what Carnival's going to do, if they're going to do anything with it. It's garnered a ton of views online. I think 120,000 views at the time that I read the story. And so what are your thoughts down below if somebody were to do this? Now, I don't know if it's real or not. I like to think that it's probably not, and somebody just wanted a bunch of views, but I've seen crazier things happen, and so I wouldn't put it past somebody to try this, right? So let me know your thoughts down below, what your thoughts are on this. Should she be banned? What should happen? What's your etiquette when it comes to, getting, water on board, things like that. So just let me know your overall comments. Now let's jump into story number two, which has to do with a man receiving a $225,000 phone bill. Whew. Now let's talk about this story. So Renee Raymond was going on a trip last September with his wife to Switzerland. And of course, before going on his trips, he always calls his cell phone provider, which we always recommend you do, people. Called his cell phone provider and told him about his travels and said, hey, am I covered? He says that they told him he was quote unquote covered, so they went about their business, went about their trip. So like any good tourist, Renee and his wife, when they got to Switzerland, started seeing the Swiss Alps. Of course, what are they going to do? They're going to pull out their phones. They're going to start taking pictures. They're going to start sending pictures to their family and friends. They're going to show off where they're at. They're going to make people jealous that they're not in the Swiss Alps too. Any good tourist would do the same thing. I would do the same thing. Sarah would do the same thing. We just would. That's just what we do. Now, Renee, after his trip, they got home. Him and his wife returned home. They got the cell phone bill in the mail, and it said $143, which is about 225 Australian. Now, according to Renee, he thought this was normal. He thought this was about average, whatever. And so he went about his business until he looked a little closer and realized that it was not $143. And there was an extra zeros in there. And it was a $143 phone bill, which is about $225,000 Australian. And he blew a gasket. He knew that this could not be correct. They must have done something wrong. So like any good old consumer, he picks up his phone and calls T-Mobile. When he gets on with T-Mobile, T-Mobile puts him on hold for a little bit, comes back, and the rep says, looks like I've looked into this, and this is an authentic phone bill. This is real. Now, to his surprise, he says, what do you mean it's real? So he went out and got a lawyer to go ahead and reach out to the president of T-Mobile. Now, ultimately, this does end in a happy story for everybody involved because the president apologized and said this shouldn't have happened, right? And they gave him a credit for the $143,000 and some change that he owed. And yeah, but let me, this is one of the things we tell everybody, like, make sure you check with your cell phone provider if you're leaving the country. He did the right things. He did all the right steps. They told him what he, needed to hear, and he went about his business like he should have, unsuspecting that he'd be charged for it. And so, but there are stories where people don't check and they realize that they have an older cell phone plan or something that doesn't cover their international roaming and data charges, and just a couple of minutes on international roaming and data could cost you thousands of dollars. It is vitally important for you to check on that before you leave. But I'm happy that he got a credit for it. It would have shocked me too if I got a bill like that, and just would not have been good. I probably would have picked up the phone with T-Mobile too, because that's who we got. Yeah, what do you think about that story? I mean, would it shock you to death if you got a bill like that? So that's going to do it for the video today. I got to go on my run. Appreciate your support. Appreciate you tuning in, and drop a like for the video, and go ahead and subscribe if you're not part of the family, because if you're not part of the family, well, you're missing out. Love you. Peace.